John Cena has just become Grand Slam champion. It's a heartwarming moment for the leader of the C Nation. But what's next for Big Match John? Well, his new focus is not only to win the Royal Rumble, but to elevate the Intercontinental Championship at the same time. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get right to business. This Saturday, I will be competing in my final Royal Rumble match, and I know I need to prepare, and I thought what better way to do that than to fight. And with this beauty in my hand, let's do an open challenge. If you want some, come get some. Karrion Kross answers the challenge. Doomsday has arrived, but can the Prophet become God? We're at the Royal Rumble and Cena is banged up, but thankfully he's drawn a later entry, and although he's hurt, he's fighting with everything he's got. But his everything isn't enough, as Chad Gable is on the verge of eliminating him until... John survives, and it's all thanks to the Wyatt 6. John is visibly shaken, but he fights on regardless, and he eventually makes it down to the final 3. It's him, it's Chad, and it's Randy. Although 3 becomes 2 very quickly, as Chad Gable manages to eliminate Randy from the match. It's a shocking elimination, and the shock could increase as Gable looks to once again eliminate John Cena, but this time Cena hangs on by himself, and then he fires up. He starts the 5 moves of doom, the crowd are on their feet, and with the 5-knuckle shuffle and the subsequent AA, Cena does it. He wins his 3rd Royal Rumble. He's going to WrestleMania. But who will he choose? Which championship will he go for? Well, on the following night, before we get an answer to that question, John gives one of his own. Oh, why? I get why you'd hurt and attack me, but why did you help me survive in the Rumble and help me win? John lays out the question, and he gets an answer. You know, John, I had the same question. Why would I help you to hurt, then heal you? The one thing you have to my brother was a lifeline of 1 year. But that shouldn't have been the case at all, John. At WrestleMania 30, my brother, Bray Wyatt, lost to you. His biggest match ever up until that point, and you couldn't even give him the rub. But I guess you pushed for that, didn't you, John? You decided to ruin my family's legacy for 6 years before you attempted to give back. But by then, it was too late, wasn't it? All because your ego couldn't handle losing. Because he never truly recovered the height of his career until he got lost in the woods, was squandered by you. That's why we're here, John. For one final dance. For revenge. Elimination Chamber, John. Almost 11 years since you wronged him. We make it right. Not for the gold, but for Bray. Bo Dallas has sent his message loud and clear, and after this beatdown, it's made official. John Cena versus Uncle Howdy at the Elimination Chamber. But before then, John gives a speech to a fallen angel. Bray, if you could hear me, Bo, if you're listening, I'm sorry. Bray, you did deserve the world at WrestleMania 30, and I gave you the worst cards possible, and when I realized my mistake, you were already lost in the woods, like Bo said. Bo was right. He deserves a chance at revenge. For what I did, I get it. But that doesn't mean I won't stop fighting, because you deserve me at my best. You deserve a rightful chance to make the mistakes right, or as right as it can get. John speaks his truth, but that's not all. Whilst I can't change the past, I can shape the future. With this championship in hand, and with my world title opportunity in sight, I have the keys to unlock Pandora's box. But I think it's now time to reveal who I will face at WrestleMania. John, we all know it's me, so let's stop pretending it's not, and stop focusing on them freaks who can't get over stuff that happened 11 years ago, and focus on the mat. Not just me at Mania, but that Intercontinental Championship, because I made that championship what it is today, and I will not have it be disrespected by a pompous twat like yourself. So defend it. Defend your legacy, John. Do it. Well, I guess you did just make my choice a whole lot easier. And John strikes Gunter! The brawl is on! But it quickly gets interrupted by Adam Pearce, who says, "Enough, you two! John is supposed to defend the Intercontinental Championship right now, and that will stand. So if you really want him to fight and defend his honor, Gunter, leave now!" And Gunter does. He backs off. But who is John facing? Well, answering the challenge is none other than Dominic Mysterio, and Dom is bringing his A-game. He's desperate for gold, but John is blinded by rage. He's a complete animal in the ropes, and after a 10-minute sprint, Cena locks in the STF, which makes Dom tap. Cena retains, but he isn't done yet. You want me to respect this championship, Gunter, huh? Well, fine. I'm not done. If you want some, come get some. It's a huge challenge by John, and this second challenge is answered by Braun Breaker. Cena may have bitten off more than he can chew, but regardless, the match is on, although not a single strike is thrown until the Wyatts appear. John is caught off guard, and that's all it takes for Braun to nail a spear, which almost breaks him in half. Braun has reclaimed the Intercontinental Championship, and John has a big Wyatt issue he needs to contend with before he can refocus on capturing number 17. It's time for the big time grudge match. Can Uncle Howdy get revenge for his fallen family? Or will John rise above hate? While the match is on, and Cena instantly looks for an AA, but Howdy gets out of it and immediately connects to Sister Abigail. John is out, but Uncle Howdy wants to make Cena suffer as he nails another. Then he hurls Cena to the outside before smashing him into the barricade and the ring post, along with slamming him into the hardest part of the ring. And with the damage seemingly done, he puts Cena back into the ring, but he doesn't go into the cover. He just waits for Big Match John to get up before nailing him with his own version of the AA. Yes, he doesn't go into the pin, although as he picks him up, Cena nails a desperate AA out of nowhere. Then with an arm draped on Howdy, Cena looks to end this nightmare. 1, 2, no! Howdy stays in the match, and even though he just received the finishing blow, Howdy is up first. Cena is broken, and after a hellacious battle with Cena up, Howdy says, "I finally forgive you for your sins, John. Now accept your fate." And as soon as he says this, he nails another Sister Abigail. Cena has lost, Howdy has won, but Cena accepts this, acknowledging Howdy before walking away, although that isn't the last combat he's involved in for the night. John, you really are pathetic. Not only do you lose your Intercontinental title after not even holding it for a month, but you lose to that freak Bo Dallas in a gimp mask? I don't think you're ready, John. You aren't ready to face me at WrestleMania. So I pulled a few strings, and I've got you a gauntlet match in the main event. Don't worry, I don't need your thanks or approval, but what I do need is to see you at the best of your capabilities. That way everyone will know the fraud that will never be World Heavyweight Champion for a 17th time, John Cena. Gunther has used his power as champion to stack the deck against John, but backstage, John seems happy about it. He even pisses out a pace and says it's a good test for him before the biggest show of the year. But who will he have to face? Well, up first is a man Cena has wronged in the past. It's a rematch from 2011, and before the match begins, John says, "You're another man I've wronged in the past, Ray. I'm sorry again. Good luck. You should have had a longer reign as WWE Champion." And Ray replies, "No worries, John. Good luck to you too." It's a friendly exchange between the two legends, and as soon as the bell rings, both men leave it all in the ring. Ray has the speed and agility, but Cena has the strength, and that drives him forward throughout the first match as he manages to catch Ray, then plant him with an AA. Cena passes the first test, but who's next? Well, it's none other than JD McDonough, and it's a similar tale to the previous fight, although due to Cena's endurance being tested, JD can take control of larger sections of the contest, but Cena just won't quit. He kicks out of everything thrown at him, and as per tradition, he begins his comeback. He hits all of his classic moves, and with another AA, John advances to his final challenge. It's yet another demon from Cena's past, in an almost literal way as well, as his last opponent is a man he has never beaten, and Finn Balor immediately nails a shotgun dropkick onto the worn down John. Then he climbs to the top rope, but he can't connect the subsequent coup de grace, as Big Match John moves out of harm's way, then sends Balor out the ring. But as the referee checks on the Prince, JD McDonough looks for a dastardly low blow, but it gets countered by Cena, who nails a second AA onto McDonough. But that's all the time Balor needed, as he slides back into the ring, although he gets distracted by Damian Priest, which allows John to roll him up. 1, 2, 3. Cena steals the win, and Balor is furious, but he takes his anger out on Damian Priest as they brawl to the back, which leaves John in the ring all alone until the champ is here, and he observes the beaten and battered John, although the leader of the C Nation wants to fight, and Gunther gives John what he wants, but not tonight. Next week, find yourself a tag team partner, and then you'll get me and Ludwig Kaiser in a tag match. It's a big way to close the show. Next week's main event is set, but who will John Cena team with? Well, throughout the night, every time Cena talks to a fellow wrestler about the main event, they get blindsided by Ludwig Kaiser and Gunther. And by the time the main event rolls around, no one knows if John Cena has a tag team partner, although it turns out he has. R-Truth has answered the call. Everyone loves this. Even Gunther and Ludwig can't help but to chuckle. But as the match begins, it's looking like John and Gunther are going to start. However, Truth tags himself in. He wants to keep Cena safe and secure for Wrestlemania, although he pays for this decision dearly, as Gunther completely obliterates Truth. He and Ludwig systematically dismantle the future Hall of Famer. Cena is begging for a tag, and eventually he gets one as Truth manages to duck Kaiser's attack before making the tag to Big Match John. And it's a classic Cena comeback. He hits all of his signature moves, and with an AA onto Ludwig, he looks to go into the cover, but Gunther drags him out the ring before nailing him with a powerbomb onto the announcer's table. And if that wasn't bad enough, Gunther redecorates the table, then puts John through it with another powerbomb. John is done. Imperium has won via a count out, and the show goes off the air with the World Heavyweight Champion standing tall. And now all that's left is to go home Raw before the biggest show of the year, and it's time for the contract signing. And with Adam Pearce moderating over the tense affair, Gunther breaks the ice. You know what, John? You really have impressed me in recent weeks. You've impressed me with how terrible you are. Honestly, just because you can beat Finn Balor, his god-awful apprentice, and an old has-been in one night doesn't mean you stand any chance at beating me. All you know is the 5 moves of doom, and at WrestleMania, I will prove to everyone the fraud that is John Cena. And with that, Gunther signs the contract, but how will John Cena respond? You know, I faced a lot of people like you before, Gunther. People like Umaga. People like the Great Khali, And guess what? I put them down in my Super Cena days, and on Saturday, that'll be no different, because unlike you, I have the fans behind my back. Because unlike you, I actually have drawing power. Because unlike you, a lot of people recognize me as the greatest of all time. Cena signs the contract, but as he does this, Gunther picks up the table and hurls it at John before planting him with a powerbomb. Is this a sign of things to come, or can John officially become the greatest WWE superstar of all time? The match is on, and both men stare holes through each other. Who will hit the first strike? Well, it's Gunther. He attempts to chop, but John counters. Then he manages to send the ring general out the ring before he climbs to the top rope. He's gonna dive onto him, but Gunther unbelievably catches John Cena before planting him onto the hardest part of the ring. Cena is writhing around in pain, but Gunther doesn't care as he puts John back into the ring before connecting a devastating German suplex, and Gunther mouths off, "Suplex City time, you stupid dumbass." And he stays true to his word as he connects another German suplex, but John gets back up, so Gunther looks for a third. However, John counters, then he connects a springboard stunner out of nowhere. Gunther is rocked, and Cena takes advantage as he manages to lock in an STF. Will Gunther tap? Well, after a slight struggle, he gets out of it. Then with both men getting to their feet, Gunther manages to nail a lariat which sends John to the outside. And from here, Gunther goes for the kill. He powerbombs John onto the barricade and onto the ring post. Then he puts him back into the ring and just demands for him to get up. And John, out of stubbornness or out of endurance, does. He fires up, and with Gunther missing a chop, Cena starts his comeback. The 5 moves of doom are on, and he runs back all the classic hits, including the 5-knuckle shuffle. Then he calls for Gunther to get up. He wants the AA, but as John picks him up, his back gives out. The punishment by the ring general is too much for John. Then Gunther connects a powerbomb. Is Cena done? 1, 2, no! Cena survives, but Gunther doesn't care as he looks for another powerbomb, but John counters. Then with all the strength he can muster, he lifts Gunther up and plants him with an AA, but he has nothing left. So just like at the Elimination Chamber, all he can do is drape an arm over his opponent, and just like Uncle Howdy, Gunther kicks out. So again, he calls for Gunther to get up. He's subsiding the pain to finish his story just like Cody Rhodes did last year. But Gunther gets out of it, and with a series of strikes, Gunther takes him down with an absolutely hellacious chop. Then he locks in a half Boston Crab. He wants John to give up, but that isn't in Cena's DNA. So he gets out of it, although he immediately gets put back down with yet another lariat. Then Gunther climbs to the top rope and connects a splash. And to complete the trifecta, Gunther connects another powerbomb. 1, 2, no! John won't quit, and Gunther's starting to get more frustrated, so he hits another powerbomb, and another, until finally, with one hand, he goes into the final cover of the match. How the hell is John still going? No one knows, including Gunther, who out of sheer desperation just starts laying shots in a big match John until he draws blood. Then he goes back to a half Boston Crab. Cena has nothing left, and in a similar fashion to Brett vs Austin at Wrestlemania 13, John passes out. Gunther has won! He has defeated John Cena at the biggest show of the year! It's a cold beginning to WrestleMania, and it could be an omen of things to come.